give Jesus an everything. Everything I got wrote down goes right with what she was saying.
Thank you, Jesus.
You know, I had something bothering me this week, and I prayed and I asked the Lord, and He led me to get in His Word.
Bless the Lord.
And I'm telling you, He just started flooding me with stuff.
Thank you,
And I've got all kinds right down here, and never really decided how I would go about it. So I'm just going to take my time with it. But she was talking about the garden, that being the spirit. Well, the spiritual place. I've been wanting to know the right way. Everybody wants to tell you how to fast.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to know the right way to fast.
Me too.
So they all want to use that in Matthew. Let's just go to Matthew.
Thank you, Jesus.
Matthew 4. After Jesus got baptized, and then he says he was, Matthew chapter 4. It says, then was Jesus led up of the serpent into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. Okay, now, what the Lord was showing me was, there's different places in here when it's talking about the wilderness. That is your spiritual place. Just like the garden was a spiritual place. Okay? So he was taken into his spiritual place to be tempted of the devil. Okay, now the devil ain't nothing but our flesh. That's the reason it tells us. It was so good when he was giving it to me. I just pray that everybody can hear it. But the devil is, it's our flesh, it's our mind.
Right.
And in the garden, when Eve was deceived of Satan, I can see her, God had done told her to not eat of that tree. Okay, well, you know how our flesh is. If we're told not to do something, we're going to sit there and we're going to talk ourselves right in. Well, now why are they saying? There's got to be a reason, that they don't want me. It's going to be for my good if I go ahead and do it. But so I'm seeing it like that her flesh is what deceived her. Which, well then, when Jesus was taken into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, it says, and when he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward hungered. Okay, now they want to use that part right there to say that fasting is going without food. Okay, well now, I looked it up in fasting, and it actually says it is to abstain from food. But I'm looking at it, abstaining from your flesh.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. So what he done was he went into that spiritual place to feed the spirit, because now he was flesh, and to die out to the flesh. Okay, now it says he was hungered. Okay, now when we're in a good, it seems like the more Jesus we get, the hungrier we get, don't we? I'm telling you that fasting, it is a spiritual thing. You have to feed your spirit. It don't matter what that you're eating.
No.
It is your flesh. If your flesh is telling you to do something, and your spirit is telling you to go a different way, and you have to starve that flesh, and you got to feed the spirit. I thought, who are you feeding? Because we are to birth the man-child. Well, now, whoever you're feeding is the one's going to grow into the man, right? So, in order to birth the man-child, we've got to feed the spirit. If we're feeding the flesh, we're going to birth the son of perdition.
Amen. Amen.
Okay? You know, whenever it says these things only go out by prayer and fasting, okay, you got to have His Spirit.
True.
That Spirit's got to be strong.
Right.
Now, whenever I go in up there at the jail, I'm planning on going in up there and casting out some demons.
Yes, right.
I ain't gonna go without eating the week before I go.
Amen.
I'm gonna spend time with Him,
Yes.
and that Spirit is gonna get strong,
Amen. Amen.
and that's how it's gonna go out. It don't matter how much your belly's growing.
Amen.
That's the truth. I mean, people want to see everything He said we're to put on the mind of Christ.
Amen. Amen.
We've got to have that spirit. That's a spiritual mind.
Yes,
Yeah.
amen.
True.
Your carnal mind ain't going to do nothing to take you down the wrong road.
Right.
You listen to your carnal mind, and the blind's going to lead the blind into the ditch, is what it says.
Yes. Come on, Susie.
Okay, now, let me go back and read here. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. See, even the devil thought that he was talking about food.
Uh-huh.
I'm right. I guarantee you I'm right. The Lord showed me, and I will stand on it. But he answered and said, It is written, man shall not live by bread alone. He said, you don't even know. I ain't hungry for a piece of bread,
Right.
but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Okay, what is the word of God? It's the Spirit. This song is good.
Thank you, Jesus.
That's the reason people, they'll go a month and not eat nothing, and they still ain't casting no devils out. Wonder why?
Right, amen.
That's the truth I'm telling you. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down. For it is written, He shall give His angels charge concerning thee. You notice how that Satan, he knew the word.
Amen.
Just like a lot of the preachers behind the pulpit. They know the word, but they don't know the Spirit.
Amen.
That's where it's at.
Yes, amen.
It says the word killeth, but the Spirit giveth life.
Amen. Amen.
He shall give His angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. Jesus said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them. And said unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Jesus unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and Him only shalt thou serve.
Amen.
And the devil leaveth him alone. See, if we keep feeding our spirit, and you keep telling your flesh no, after so long, it's going to know. You're going to put it in its place. I thought about whenever it's talking about who is your strong man.
Amen.
Yeah.
Right. The strong man, let me go over here.
Thank you, Jesus.
But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of God, then the kingdom of God is come unto you. Or else, how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house?
Amen.
Okay, when I say we're in a battle, our flesh and our spirit, just like what you're saying. The flesh is trying its best to kill our spirit so it can take over.
Yeah.
Amen.
But see, we got to stay a step ahead of it because we know this stuff.
That's right.
He says I wouldn't have you to be ignorant, and He gives us the word right here.
Amen.
And if you'll put on the mind of Christ and you'll spend time with Him, and won't be dependent on somebody else.
Right.
Because like I said, people will lead you wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and he's not gonna lead you wrong.
No, he's not. Amen.
But I put, when we fast, we are to let go of the flesh and feed our spirit. Then when we call on the Lord, He's going to answer us and He's going to guide us.
Amen.
Okay? Now, talking about the, let me find it. Let me go back here. Okay, whenever that Jesus went to the, whenever He went to the cross and He was in the garden and He was praying, see, He was in the garden.
Amen.
We went back into that spiritual place and He was praying to the Father. He was praying to His Spirit,
Amen.
and He says, not my will. He said, but thy will. He said, if it's your will, Lord, He said, or Father, He said, let this cup pass from me, but not my will, but thy will. Okay, see, his flesh didn't want to go to that cross. He knew what they was going to do. But he was, see, his spirit, the Spirit was the strong man. And he was going to follow the Spirit no matter what. Sometimes we worry about hurting somebody or whatever the reason is, and to keep us from doing things when we know that the Lord is leading us to do it.
Amen.
But all that is it's just our flesh,
Amen.
That's the Lord.
Thank you, Jesus.
Okay, I've got lost here. But talking about the disobedience. See, he had me in Solomon the other day, and he went to Solomon twice to tell him to not take of the wives, that they was forbidden to him.
Uh-huh.
And even everything that Solomon had, and he knowed the Lord,
Amen.
but he let his flesh override what he already
That's
knew.
right. Amen.
Okay, and whenever that he disobeyed, and the Lord took his kingdom from him. He took it. He lost everything because of disobedience. The same reason that Adam and Eve got thrown out of the garden. It all started with being disobedient, eating of something that they're not, partaking of something that they're not supposed to, feeding their flesh instead of their spirit.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
But I thought about how the law is the flesh, and Jesus came to crucify the flesh. And then once he did that, it says, "Oh, death, where is thy sting?" Because he see
Thank you, Jesus.
whenever that he, Lord help me, Jesus. I've got too much right down here.
It's all right. Take your time. Thank you, Lord. God, I praise you.
But I really just wanted to share that about the fasting and just how important that it is, for us to be strong in our spirit. Oh, I know what I was going to say a while ago. talking about the Spirit of the Lord. You know, he says, my sheep know my voice.
Amen.
So whenever he's saying that, you know, if we've got his Spirit, then we know it. We know his voice.
Amen.
And I mean, sometimes if you don't want to do something, you can say, well, you know, I'm not sure if that's you, Lord, or whatever. But he said that his sheep knows his voice.
Right.
So if they know it and then they don't do it, it's because that they think more of their flesh than they think of the Spirit. And I mean, and then that's just an excuse not knowing. Because I mean, if you get in here and you're going to know his voice, because he ain't going to speak nothing that's outside of his word.
Right. Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
But that's all I got.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.